Hello viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Business Compass. As you know, every week on Business Compass we coach, we mentor, we encourage, and we give guidance to small business owners. Business Compass is proudly created and produced by Fiducia Services Limited with the technical support from GH1 TV. And we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So please follow us. We have all sorts of helpful business management tips on our social media pages, and you'd find a lot there. You can also get in touch with us, and we promise to get back to you if you have any questions or business challenges you want us to look at. We are proudly sponsored by Akosombo Textiles. We bring fabric to life. And First National Bank. How can we help you? So, new episode, and today's episode is different from all the other ones we've had. This is the 13th episode of our first season, so it's the last episode, and we decided to do something different this week. So rather than have an entrepreneur in here and go over their issues, today I have a full house of experts. All the experts who have appeared on episodes 1 to 12 are here, and today we would talk about all the challenges and the common issues we've seen in the past 12 episodes. So, Petra, welcome. Kwame, Mona, and Frank.
Thank you.
Welcome, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I have to take the opportunity to thank you guys. You have been amazing. You've been phenomenal over the past 12 weeks. They have supported our young entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of coaching and support that they've given them even off camera. And some have even visited some of them at their premises to see how they're doing. So today we want to go over all we have seen. And should we do a run through first? Everybody, one question. What was your big aha moment? What surprised you?
Well, thank you very much for doing this. It's been a very interesting experience listening to all the different business ideas, the business stories. I think for me, the biggest thing that ran through was how a lot of young people are responding to needs in their environment. That for me really stood out in most of the entrepreneurs we engaged with. You'd hear the story of, I had a problem and I felt that I needed to find a way to solve it. Or something happened to me and I wanted to find a solution that other people like me could also identify with. Okay. So that for me was critical. Because one of the best ways to develop a business is to look at what's a need in the market. So it was really clear from most of the engagements we had with the entrepreneurs that that was something they were focusing on. Okay. Whether they were making profit out of the need is a different thing, yes. But that for me was one of the key things.
Okay, Kwame, what shocked you the most?
Well, I wouldn't say anything shocked me, probably because I've been in business for so long.
Okay.
So I expected some of the pitfalls that they were talking about. You know, I'd experienced it. So it gave me a better understanding and platform to answer some of their questions. But I think what was really interesting was the feedback from viewers.
Okay.
To see that, wow, we've been doing something good and it's had an impact. And you look at the various types of businesses and you see that out there, quite a lot of people are also in that kind of
they were facing similar challenges.
Yes, similar challenges. So that shocked me. A lot of young people who see me on other channels and know I'm on here were calling me and saying that, well, we have a problem here, we want to go into business, we don't know the kind of business to choose, we are scared of going into it because of the challenges that we face, how do we go into it, and that kind of. So that impact was, for me, pretty informative.
Okay. Mona?
Yes.
What was your big takeaway from the past 12 episodes?
I think my big takeaway, Charlotte, was the confidence level of all the young people who came to see us and to seek advice. For me, I find that they were open to getting help. And that's why, first of all, they had you in their lives and then being able to showcase them here. That confidence level allowed them to make very bold steps without all the resources, which sometimes you need, because it is not every day that you have everything lined up before you can start a business. So it was nice to see them being bold, so confident, and stepping out, even if it was just to try. But I was really impressed with the level of confidence that they all had.
That's lovely. Frank,
great.
How do you feel?
I feel really good. I'm happy at least we've gotten to this stage, and a couple of common trends have passed through all the cases we've handled. Largely, I see a lot of businesses being run on social media, and that's excellent. Means that entrepreneurs these days do not need to put up a lot of capital to rent spaces and do traditional adverts to attract customers. And so that's the modern trend we are seeing. And I'm happy that our young generation is taking advantage of social media to build businesses around that. Also, we also saw one trend across where we realized that they are not collaborating enough, and that if they do collaborate among themselves...
We'll get into the challenges.
Okay. And then the last bit is most of them thought finance is the problem, but we also realized that finance really is not the problem in most instances.
True.
So that's...
In almost all the interviews with them prior to bringing them on the show, a lot of them, main challenge they said was finance, raising capital, we needed equipment. But I think in engaging them, almost to an entrepreneur, we got to the conclusion that it wasn't a finance issue. It was usually a strategy or a structure issue. I think I share the sentiments of all of you. I was really blown away by the passion of most of the entrepreneurs. They were very passionate about the businesses. Were almost like a course, you know. They held very tightly onto it. There was a lot of confidence. They were very bold, and it was just beautiful to see so many young people doing such a variety of things. I mean, we looked at the fashion industry, we looked at chocolates, jewelry making. The young man who was making furniture out of tires and automobile parts. We looked at the meat industry. I mean, it was such a variety, and it was exciting every week to just come and engage with them. So it's been, the 12 episodes for me have been beautiful, and there's a lot of lessons that can be learned over the course of the recording. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we would look at the common issues that we found and offer, you know, the big solutions to all the challenges that we saw over the past 12 episodes. So please stay with us, and we'll be back very shortly.
Immediately the product was actually introduced to me, I wanted to get on it, and that was the Gold Check account, guys. This has actually changed my business. So on the First National Bank app, you have the business toolkits that gives you all the information that you need to run your business, and whatever inquiries you have, they're always ready to answer, and that makes life very easy for me. And you have the in contacts that helps you access every transaction that takes place or happens. Now, point of sales terminal, I mark it wherever I go, and so I love to have that so I can take payment, especially with those who tell me I do not have cash. A bank that understands that you can start life all over again or start a business from scratch. Very keen on running it and making sure that you grow to the core. It's one you should look out for. My name is Jifa Bekre-Gray, the CEO of Jifa Gray Creations. I recommend that you sign up to the Gold Check account from First National Bank for a great banking experience.
Ejanio Tamukuchuna me mo ade tonfo ne ade tofo na atoadi yo tonne fonam ntono ejaje abon aye dwade adwumadie kasia quest image mpanyifo de ahyehye so amadwadifo ne ade tonfo nyina se ne beye na wo business ne be hu mpuntu akasia wonte ase ade tonfo ye nton de mpesika na bronya na eba yi ade tofo yi mfa mofra ne abusuafo ne nyina behwa ade ntode na monsanso nyim ne na yetena afia ahye dodo onyini eye National Theatre Discount Grant Sale ɛdeɛ na wo hia ɛyɛ TV mobile phone agudeɛ nnuane ahodoɔ ntoma ne ntadeɛ mpaboa nko nsɛm na apa makeup ho nneɛma enyin ɛne enyin ho nneɛma mfoni ahodoɔ wɔne yɛtɔn kaa sɛ na afei nsuo afei insurance kakrabea ɛne ne ɛkeka ho bebree ɛdeɛ na wo paato a wonyi agye nyame ɛyɛ National Theatre Discount Grand Sale ɛyɛ na wɔtwemienu dwumadi a ɛhyɛ every 7th November ɛkɔsi 25th November 8 o'clock anɔpa ɛkɔsi 8 o'clock anadwo bia ɛwɔ National Theatre Accra yɛatete suo yɛatete ɛyɛade tɔn ɛdwadie ɛne anigye wɔne ɛpɛ sɛ wɔtɔn wɔn nneɛma wɔ dwumadiɛ ase ɛne wɔn a wɔpɛ nkyerɛkyerɛmu bia mfrɛ 0244 460 273 dwumadiɛ ɛyɛ Quest Image na de bra na EIB Network na ɛso wɔn ase ɛyɛ National Theatre Discount Grand Sale kan wo na bɛpere wo dabere na nsɛ ɛgyaagye aboa no
Welcome back, viewers. You're still on Business Compass, and today we're reviewing the past 12 episodes and the challenges that we've seen with our young entrepreneurs through those episodes. One of the things that came up with almost all of them, I think except probably 2, was bookkeeping. Keeping track of their numbers, their financial records. And I know Frank talked a lot about that over the recordings. Frank, why do you think we have this problem, and what can we do to stop it?
So I think what has happened over the years is it's become the business culture that we just start our businesses. We don't really even keep track of where the monies are coming from, where the monies are going, how much it costs us, because traditionally people just do businesses and they commingle the business's resources with that of the personal resources and see the business as themselves. I think we saw about 2 or 3 instances where people have kept records and they've even done an audited account. I think Pistis was one, Decocraft was one, and then there was another one. And I think that those were great, but even that, we realized
that separation was still not there.
Well, it wasn't really there, and then they didn't really know what was in their financial statements, so they were not using the record keeping that for management decision making purposes. So that was one also common trend that we saw, those who are even keeping financials. So.
And almost all of them were not on a salary. They did not put themselves on a salary.
I think Decocraft was on salary somehow. Yeah.
Okay, so what's the big advice we can give to the entrepreneurs who are watching at home, the young ones? When you start, what should you do in terms of keeping your books structuring properly?
Yeah, so we're saying that when you start a business, at least run things through your bank account, keep records of your basic purchases that you are doing, okay, and then get some help in terms of people who will probably come in part-time basis to come and keep your books for you, and use the bookkeeping information to drive your business decision making. And you're not just doing it largely to just pay your taxes, and because they want an audited account, it's audited and I sit back. It's a management tool.
Okay.
So largely what we're saying is your bookkeeping and your accounting records should drive your business. It should drive strategy as well. So that has been the general trend that we've seen across all the entities.
Okay. Mona, you want to say something about that?
I'd just like to add that I think it's important that as much as you are passionate about what you want to do, that you also get the tools to be able to do well. So financial statements or financial analysis knowledge is important, it's critical. As Frank said, these are management tools that help you to decide the direction of your business, whether it's come to an end, whether it needs to change, or whether you're continuing the way it is. So these are very important. What I noticed is that for many of the young people we saw, even though they were driven by passion, they didn't step back to learn the skills of managing this business in a way that they would be able to sustain it. So for example, they were not checking how much they were spending as Frank has said, but more important, they were not even analyzing the spending. They were not analyzing the revenues to be able to make good decisions about what can I do better, where can I cut, what is that 20% that can give me 80% impact. They were just going, and it was because they were perhaps excited, passionate, young. And for some of them, for example, Deliveries Ghana, she had a good reason for going. However, she was just throwing her savings into it. And she was not looking, she was not looking at what is this doing for me? What am I getting in return?
Isn't it?
And she was getting stuck.
It's almost as if people get carried away by the passion and forget that it is still a business, and so it really must make money. If you are not for profit, that's fine. But if you are a business, you are there to make profit, and so if you are not keeping the books, you cannot even tell whether you are making a profit or not. But I think that there's also the issue that a lot of the businesses will tell you they need financing, but what they are unable to understand is you are not going to get any investment, whether it's equity or it is debt financing from a bank, if you are not keeping your books.
That's right.
So if you're not structured, you can't grow. And most think that they should wing it, and when they are bigger, then they'll get structured, and it doesn't really work that way.
And Charlotte, another very key thing about seeking funding is that you, the business owner, must be able to speak to your finances.
Yes.
You must be able to tell
your
potential investor that this is what is costing me, this is what I'm paying my workers and myself, this is what I'm earning, and be able to analyze it to the investor to understand what you're doing. But what we realized that many of them didn't bother to learn about that part. They were only focused on the core product itself.
We have a serial entrepreneur in the room, and I was going to ask him if he made these mistakes earlier. But luckily for Kwame, we have to go on a break, and when we come back, Kwame will talk about strategy issues. In terms of their visioning and their strategy, did you see any gaps, or were you happy with how they were going? So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll look at the strategic challenges of our small businesses. So viewers, please stay with us, and we'll be back very soon.
With our new Always On bundles, you'll never run out of data in the middle of any important activity, no matter what. Choose from our Always On plans and enjoy true 4G LTE that never stops.
Surfline, it's about time.
Kairos Accra with Bishop Daddy Shekina. This time for your visitation has arrived. Living experience, divinity into humanity, and see your life going from glory to glory. Wait, Kairos Accra, the 12th and 13th of November at Accra Marriott Hotel opposite Marina Mall at 4 p.m. Kairos Accra with Bishop Daddy Shekina. Your life shall never be the same again.
Welcome back, viewers. Still on Business Compass, and today we're having a review discussion. And Kwame, I'm coming to you now. Can you tell us the businesses you have done, or is it easier to say the ones you've not done?
You mean myself?
Yes.
Well, when I finished law school, I practiced for 2 years and decided to go into business because I have a business qualification. But unfortunately, this was in London, and it was the fresh produce industry.
Okay.
And we're bringing tons of produce from all over the world into the UK. In those days, they used to call them exotics. This is late 80s, early 90s. Then Margaret Thatcher's recession hit, and we were the first one to go bust.
Okay.
Then I came to Ghana. I hadn't come to Ghana for a long time. Came to Ghana and started doing roads. So
roads?
Yes, road furniture. Put road furniture on roads. So road line marking, traffic lights.
Okay.
Crash barriers. I put in all the way bridges in Tema and Takra Depot, you know, and then unfortunately government wasn't paying. So
you moved into what?
By 2005, I was nearly going mad because you owed a lot of money and government wasn't paying. Then the oil industry came around, and it's the oil industry that I've been in since then.
No, but we've talked about cocoa, both of us.
Oh, the cocoa one is my father's cocoa farm.
Okay.
And he has left it, so I'm having to go into it and make sure that...
We've talked about the beauty industry as well.
Yes, that one is a brand that I brought in now that we're trying to market, and it rivals MAC, the MAC brand.
Okay.
And we've got the agency for Africa, so we're trying to market it.
Okay, I better stop this line of questioning before Kwame starts advertising.
Now, this is important. This is important. It goes to show that you don't have to have the knowledge of every business.
That's true.
If you can find people who can help you get there. And that is the mark of a CEO and somebody who has a vision for business.
Okay.
So when you see an opportunity, you take that opportunity and find people who can
Okay, so
help
let's
you
take, for instance, Deliveries Ghana.
Yes.
So what would you have done in that situation? How would you have played it differently?
I would have done one business after the other and not try to do everything at the same time.
Okay.
And that was one of the challenges she had, doing everything, trying to do everything at the same time and robbing Peter to pay Paul. You stretch yourself so thin, and after a while, you don't know.
And the robbing Peter is not necessarily in terms of taking one client's money, it's really in terms of yourself.
In terms of yourself. And you see, and in business, you should think about your health, because sometimes the stress alone can kill you. And so you should pace yourself well enough to be able to handle the challenges that face you. But when you look at the businesses that we've had, in this episode, one thing they didn't do was that some of them came in with passion, some of them came in as, okay, I'm doing this, I think I can do it myself, and really didn't study the ABCDs of business. So you ask them what's fixed cost, they don't understand, what's variable cost, they don't understand, and they tend to forget that in order to make money, you need to put what is up here on a piece of paper and convince somebody with money to invest. And they felt that, so far as I've got the business, I should find the money. It doesn't work that way. I also realized that the skeleton of the body, the framework of the body is the skeleton. And most of the businesses didn't look at the skeleton. What would hold this business up?
Can you explain that a bit more?
Well, in terms of, they start and they feel we can run with it, we can go with it, forgetting the nitty-gritties of how you should run with it, understanding the business better. So deliveries, fantastic concept. I thought that it could work, but she wasn't handling the nitty-gritties well enough to be able to move it into the next stages.
Okay, I think those are very good points. Petra, what's your takeaway? For me, honestly, from what has been said, my feeling was almost as if we are glamorizing entrepreneurship and people do not recognize the kind of hard work it takes. It is rewarding and it is good. It is good that we have young people stepping out to create employment for other people and solve society's problems. But entrepreneurship is hard work. And that's what I think you're trying to point out. They are failing to recognize that side of it, and you cannot succeed on the creative side if you don't take care of the.
You must build the knowledge.
Yes.
It's knowledge based.
Yes. Petra.
And so, for me, the fundamental challenge I noticed from a marketing perspective was the lack of clarity of the value proposition.
Okay.
Most of the businesses were not very clear on what they were uniquely offering to the market, and so you would hear in different. It wasn't clear that there was always a bit of a struggle in terms of what exactly are you selling.
I think I remember even with Bell's Goat.
Yes.
She was selling meat, which was good, and selling it convenience, nicely packaged. But she was now trying to go into owning cold stores, owning a farm, and we were like, this is too much. You need to learn to collaborate.
Exactly. So that key issue was the thing, and so. If there's someone who is thinking about a business or in a business, I felt that it's important that they go through a thought process. Like Kwame was saying, the basics. And for marketing, you need to be very clear. For instance, what am I selling? What exactly is my product?
Yes.
What solution am I providing? For who am I providing the solution? So who is your customer? And profiling your customer. Is my customer a man? Is my customer a woman? What's the lifestyle of my customer? And how does my product or service fit into the lifestyle of this customer? That has to be very, very clear. So the customer profiling is not just something that you do off the cuff or say everybody is my customer, but be very specific as to who my customer is. And then you go into things like, is anybody willing to pay for this solution?
Okay.
Because it might be a good idea for you. You feel good about it. It's a nice thing. Maybe you dreamt in the night and had a vision. But is anybody willing to pay money for that? That's a critical thing. And like you said, sometimes we're glamorizing entrepreneurship. And if you're not getting money for this idea or this product or service, then it's just an expensive hobby. So you're doing it every day, putting money into it, putting parents' money, family, friends, and everything, but you're not making any money. And that for me was one of the key things. So they need to think about how they're going to get people to pay for it. And then very critical was, how is what I'm offering different from my competitor?
Okay.
So how is what I'm offering...
Also mapping your competitors and
yes,
tracking what they're doing.
tracking what they're doing and being able to clearly say that this is what I'm doing differently. So my value proposition is in convenience, or in my pricing, or in the quality of the product I'm selling, or in the feelings I'm giving my customers. Okay. That for me was key.
Let's go listen to Coach Bell. I think today she's talking on something that actually ties in with everything we're doing. The value of time and persistence when you are an entrepreneur, and how the success is not usually overnight. So let's listen to the coach, and when we come back, we'll continue with this discussion, and we'll probably go into maybe risk issues. Some of that came up, and some legal and structural issues. So we're going to Coach Bell now, and when we come back, we'll continue with the discussion.
Hello viewers, this is Coach's Corner on Business Compass. I am Coach Bell. Today's tip is on being persistent. The Chinese bamboo plant does not sprout for the first 4 years after planting, but in the 5th year, when it does sprout, it can grow 80 feet tall in just 6 weeks. Like all other plants and trees, the Chinese bamboo tree requires nurturing through water, fertile soil, and also with enough sunshine to ensure that it will grow. If you plant a bamboo tree and give it all the nutrients it needs, right soil and enough water and sunlight, you will never see any visible growth in the first year. If you continue to nurture the bamboo tree, after the 2nd year, nothing will grow above the ground. And if you choose to continue on for the 3rd and 4th year, you will see nothing to finally in the 5th year, something amazing will happen. The bamboo tree that you planted will grow in just 6 weeks, 80 feet tall. What lessons can we learn from this? Success doesn't come right away. Success requires strong foundation. The bamboo tree can never grow to 80 feet tall if it did not grow its roots deep into the ground for the first few years. And the same applies to your life and your business. Spend time to build a strong foundation. It is especially important if your goals are big and your dreams are beyond your current level. Success is about your consistency. Without consistently watering, nurturing, and giving enough sunshine to the bamboo tree, it can never grow. Finally, patience and persistence will pay off. One of the most profound lessons you can learn from the bamboo tree is none other than this: being patient and persistent. Keep nurturing your business with the right tools and ingredients, even when you cannot immediately see growth. Remember the bamboo tree story. Don't forget that business is about relationships. The relationship between you and your customers, the relationship between you and your workers, and the relationship between you and your money. Let's keep it a healthy relationship.
Thank you, Coach. And we're still talking about the common challenges we saw over the past 12 episodes. From the legal perspective, we saw a variety of legal structures. So we had several sole proprietorships. We had some limited liability companies. We didn't see any partnerships. And I recall that one of them, we actually suggested that they should go from sole proprietor to partnership rather than jumping to the limited liability status. And I saw that almost all the entrepreneurs fundamentally did not understand the implications of the structure they had chosen. So it was very random and probably depended on who they met at Registrar General. So I thought there's a lot of opportunity there for some more education and engagement on what different structures entail and the kind of risk that come with it. There was also very little knowledge about insurance as a tool for managing risk. That came up a lot. And then, maybe not too surprising, almost all of them owned the businesses 100%. Okay, we saw couples, but most owned it 100%. And yet they wanted financing. And yet also their bookkeeping was not up to scratch. And if your books are not if you're not keeping track of your numbers, your expenses, your sales, it's very hard to have someone come in to invest in the business, whether it's a bank that is giving you a loan or it is someone coming to take shares in it. And we saw very little collaboration. So we saw entrepreneurs wanting to do everything from, the entire spectrum, from selling to producing to packaging to delivering
to training.
And it doesn't work that way. You need to, as a small business, you need to focus on what you do best and then collaborate with others to support you to deliver the services.
And grow bigger, yeah.
Yes.
So, I think one key thing, like you rightly said, everybody wants to own everything and have
do everything
and have the show, and I think it's not the best thing to do, because we keep saying that it's always better to have a 10% of 10 million than to have 100% of 100,000 of any business, because if you open up and you bring other investors in and things like that, one, they help you to be disciplined, and they help you to expand because their skin is in the game. So they always would also contribute in terms of management and direction and things like that to make sure that you are successful and be able to play in the bigger circles instead of you alone in your corner. So we said that, look, Ghanaian entrepreneurs, let's dream big and let's look out for like the $10 million, $5 million businesses coming our way, and let's collaborate more. And
however, having said that, did you get the sense that, and I'm throwing us directly under the bus here, legal and finance professionals were failing our small entrepreneurs? Because I saw so many who actually needed legal services and so many who needed financial services, but I didn't see them getting it. And even some of the ones who had auditors, we went through the audit reports and it was pretty confusing. It was like a mishmash, And I was wondering, is it that legal services are priced so highly that our entrepreneurs cannot afford it, or they don't even try? They're just intimidated by the whole aura that we throw out, and so they're not getting the services they need. But a lot of them really do need those services from the get-go in terms of structuring, employment contracts, tenancy agreements, marketing and sales contracts. We didn't see any of that. But they needed it.
Can you blame them? You can't blame them, because one thing you would have thought would feed from this particular episode is that those watching in the legal fraternity, insurance fraternity will say, oh, that's an opportunity there. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. And so there's that intimidation of legal people. They're too expensive.
Yeah.
How do I go for legal? I'll do it my own way. You might need an accountant, but you feel they are too expensive. So you go for some wayside bookkeeper who doesn't even know how to keep your books.
And when you don't own assets, they tell you have assets.
I think it was the delivery person who Mona asked about her motorbikes, whether they were part and parcel of her assets, and she had put it in her finances.
But she had professionals doing it for her.
Yeah, well, she had professionals doing it. She did not have the ability to check it and ask the right questions.
That's the other issue we saw, because there were a lot of them we also engaged off camera, going over their books, and there were fundamental mistakes, even in terms of you're dealing with a sole proprietor, and you would read an audit report that is talking about shares, and we're like, but you can't have shares because it's a sole proprietor. And there were professionals who had signed off these accounts. But I get your point. They themselves did not understand. And I think it's important that entrepreneurs should understand that if you're paying somebody to provide a service. Don't just go and have an auditor sign off financial statements because you need to present it at a bank or registrar generals. You also need to get involved and understand what they're doing and read it and ask questions. Let them explain it. Because a lot of the ones we saw, they had the accounts and we asked questions and they had never even read it. It was clear.
But I also see that, I see that as a market opportunity for young people as well. So there are lots of young professionals, maybe not in work, or they can do it on the side. So people should come together, organize small businesses that can collaborate and support small businesses, because the legal fees, the advisory services, all of the things we're doing here, I'm sure young entrepreneurs will want that, but they feel they can't access it. It might be out of their scope. So it's an opportunity. We definitely, I hope, somebody will say, out of this, they've set up a business.
Taking us into the next segment, which is what can we do better, what can they do better. So let's take a break, quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will kind of like use that to wrap up. What can they do better, what can we do better? And then we would end this. So viewers, please stay with us.
As a woman, HealthLink range of products have been my companion, and thanks to Auntie Emma for introducing and adding HealthLink Omega-3 fish oil, which contains fatty acid that has enabled me to be very active without stress. HealthLink Immune System Tablet, formulated with a rich content of vitamins A, C, B6 and B12 as well as selenium, is helping my body mount good defense against all diseases and promote wound healing and recovery from ill health. And the ideal part is, it's a once daily dosing and can be taken. HealthLink Omega-3 fish oil and HealthLink Immune System tablets are available in pharmacies and chemical shops. Bulk purchase, contact PharmaTrust Limited or call 0561 088 663 0561 088 666. HealthLink, your link to a healthier lifestyle. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Food and Drugs Authority.
Youth of Ghana, are you ready? Youth of Ghana, are you ready? Are you between the ages of 15 and 35? Join the My Voice, My Vote survey, an initiative of the Youth Empowerment Synergy, Yes Ghana, in partnership with CISU and 100% for Children, and let your voice be heard on one of the biggest platforms informing choices and decisions before the 2020 elections. Let your voices be heard by dialing *800*25# on all networks, or visit www.yesghana.org/MVMV2020, or get ballot cards or braille ballot cards to cast your vote as a Ghanaian youth on top 3 critical issues that are of immediate concern to you and should be prioritized by the next government. The top 3 development issues voted by you will be translated into a nationwide campaign, culminating into a presidential dialogue with the various presidential candidates. We are leaving no one behind. Let's get involved, as the time for an inclusive governance is now. My voice, my vote, amplifying the voices of the youth of Ghana.
Welcome back, viewers. We're looking at the challenges we've seen over the past 12 episodes and common problems and what can everyone do better. So, who do I start from? Frank?
Yeah.
You've got 1 minute.
Yes, so I think...
Final advice?
Yeah.
What should they look out for?
Okay, so final advice is every entrepreneur, let's try and collaborate and work with either with our competitors to get things done.
Your competitors can be your collaborators.
They can be your collaborators, so let's collaborate. And also for the viewers who are entrepreneurs, we've seen a lot of challenges coming from record keeping, bookkeeping and things like that. Look, there are a lot of technological solutions out there that can be deployed at a center to serve a lot of small entrepreneurs. So if you have an opportunity like that or a proposal like that, you can submit to us and we'll review and see how best we can help our businesses sort of survive and overcome these booking challenges that we've seen in this section.
Thank you, Frank. Mona, what do you want viewers at home who are entrepreneurs, what do you want? What's your take? What do you want them to remember?
I think I have two things for the small business owner. One is that you do need financial documentation to be able to know whether your business is growing, and to be able to even access funds, as you said, whether from equity or from debt sources. And therefore, start simple, just by recording what you have. Move later into a financial system, which may appear complex, but that is what the financial institutions understand, and that's what will give them the story about your business. The second thing that I'll say to small businesses at home is you need to focus. We are seeing too many of you saying, I'm a businessman, I'm a businesswoman. When we ask you what you do, you now list a litany of things that you do. You know, some of them are not even related. Please focus, decide on the core thing that you want to do and do it well. When you register your business at the Registrar General, don't start saying agriculture, construction. Register the business to do a core thing. That way, any financial institution that is reviewing and considering you know that you are focused and this is where the cash is coming from. So that's my advice.
Very good advice. Very good advice. Kwame?
You should always remember that the business structure is a whole. So operations, structure, strategy, financing is a whole. One cannot live without the other. Just don't look at financing and leave the others out. You should always take all as a whole. Secondly, you need to understand the business. In order to understand the business, you need to do your feasibility studies. It's not just a question of doing research into the business, but put it on paper so that you understand exactly where you want to go and what you want to do. Thirdly, a lot of the companies said, the next thing is we want to get into Africa and the world. It was their vision, but had no idea what it means getting into Africa and the world. And so you've got to study that and understand their system, because the system out there is different from the system in here. And if you have a product that is a consumption where it's food where people eat, your packaging should start like you are exporting it into that market, so that when you now have the chance to export, you're not now looking for different types of packaging to export with. So generally, I think, for me, it's been a good thing to be on the show, to be able to understand the type of small businesses and what young people are going through today, because in our time, it was absolutely and totally different. And we can help them. Some of us have gone to some of the companies to see how they're doing it and give them advice. So I think all in all, they will take some learning from it, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years, if they do come back, we would see exactly where they are.
Fantastic, thank you.
3 things for me. 1, the customer. They should be clear on who their customer is and what they're offering. The second thing will be the brand. That businesses need to focus on building brands, and branding is not an event, it's a long-term journey. And the third thing is they should think about profits. It's not good enough just to have an idea or run a business if you're not making money. It's a hobby, a very expensive hobby. So those are my 3 takeaways. They should think about the customer, think about the brand, and think about profit.
Thank you. So during COVID, I was engaging with a lot of young entrepreneurs that I kind of mentor, support, just stay in touch with, and just asking them what their challenges were during the COVID, the lockdown. And that's how I came up with the idea for Business Compass, because in engaging them, I realized the problems that when they said, oh, we're not selling, or we don't have money to do this, I thought it was not always the money. It was a failure of either structure or strategy. And so that's how the idea of Business Compass came up. And I figured if the ones I know were going through these challenges, it may be a bit more commonplace than I figured. And I must say that it's been a total privilege to be able to do this, and to do it with fantastic experts like you. There's book expertise, and there's also expertise that comes from experience and knowledge. And when you guys apply the heart, like you've all done, it's been just so beautiful to watch. And I've received thank yous from all the businesses that we featured, And I want to formally extend those thanks to you guys because they've really been really grateful and appreciative of the support they've had on screen and off screen. And to the viewers, I hope you've enjoyed the 12 episodes. I have learned so much about business, and I'm sure you have. And my big thing is structure. Whether it is your legal structure or it is your financial structure or just having a little notebook where you sit once a week and you just make notes. What is this vision, and keep refining it, and what have I spent, what have I received, and just start that process of separating yourself from the business entity. If you do what we're telling you, I'm almost certain that the business would grow and you would even enjoy the experience of entrepreneurship even more. So we end season 1. Thank you guys. And in season 2, I think it would be good for us to go back and check on some of the entrepreneurs we've had here and see whether they are implementing all the guidance they got. And if they are not, we can also look at why are they having a challenge with implementation and see how we can help them with that. And we can also look at how we can do some bigger meetings where we're not just engaging one entrepreneur, we can engage several at once who have similar problems and see how we can help them solve it. So thank you. It's been beautiful doing season 1 with all of you. Thank you to Akosombo Textiles, bring fabric to life, and thank you to First National Bank. How can we help you? They are willing to help you. So if you're a small business owner, check their website, walk into any of their branches, and they actually do have a lot of support services and applications that can help small business owners do some of the things we've been talking about. So this has been Business Compass, the GPS for your business, brought to you by Fiducia Services Limited with technical collaboration from GH1 TV. We will see you in season 2, and my name is Charlotte Osei. Stay focused until we meet you again.